Welcome back, Agents of the Division. Today's video is going to be about the Endgame. I've explored it, not thoroughly, but enough to get an idea of what it's all about. After my 38 hours of total game time, I've made my way up to World Tier 3. Now, the Endgame doesn't actually truly begin until you've reached World Tier 1. To do that, you gotta do all the main missions and all the strongholds, and then it boosts you to this new, well, world. It's the same map and everything, but that new faction, the Black Tusk, those guys mean business, and they're awesome, and they are all over the place, invading all the main missions, and I think some of the side missions too. I can't remember, maybe not. But in order to effectively combat these guys, you get to choose one of three specializations: the powerful grenade launcher, the silent explosive crossbow, and the piercing sniper rifle. Each one of these new weapons uses a rare ammo that you will occasionally get from enemy drops. They are very fun to use and kill very well. On top of this, you also get a new skill tree that you can get skill points for every time you level up or complete a mission or a stronghold. And I've spent 10 hours with my grenadier so far, and I have a little under half of everything upgraded in the tree. So there's a lot of mileage here if you count all three specializations and maxing them all out, which you're going to want to do, as you can switch between them freely every time you go back to your home base. Each specialization has its own use, and not only helps to benefit the big weapon that you're using, you know, the crossbow or the grenade launcher, etc., but also helps to reinforce a particular play style that is ingrained within that specialization itself, which is why you're going to want to max all three. And that's going to take some time, so that alone, that could take anywhere from 20 to 50 hours in my mind. Maybe faster if you're like a diehard, just grind only the things that you need to grind to get those points to rank it up. But if you're like me and you want to do, you know, a variety of things, then you'll be at it for a while, so that's good. So you have your specialization, and now what though? Well, you have the world tier stuff. World Tier 1 through 4. To get up in those world tiers, what you have to do is you have to go play the missions that are linked up to their own particular stronghold. You do that, and you beat the stronghold, you go up another tier. Every stronghold you beat will bump you up another tier, with the final world tier being World Tier 4, which is where all of your end game build grinding is going to happen. Every world tier up to 4 is just going to be you getting gear that's going to slowly increase your gear score average, and you're going to be swapping gear all the time, so making minuscule adjustments to said gear with mods or with the recalibration station isn't really advised. If you're really quick and efficient, you can probably get from World Tier 1 to World Tier 4 in 5 hours. If you're like me though, probably more like 10-15, which in itself isn't bad since that's not the final form of the endgame. Because in the final version of the PvE endgame, the world map is a lot more alive than it used to be. All of the factions, including the Black Tusk, are vying for control over various settlements and are constantly at war with one another, and you're going to be seeing these conflicts play out almost as if they are happening while you're offline. So in the endgame world map, you're going to be seeing a lot of patrols from all of the factions, including the friendly civilian faction that's on your side. And you're going to be seeing faction versus faction or faction versus civilian, all happening simultaneously across the map. You'll see the Black Tusk take over certain settlements, and you'll have to go there and re-liberate them. So that will certainly keep you busy for a while if you're any sort of completionist and want to experience everything that the world map has to offer. And then you have the main missions. Now these can be replayed at varying difficulties from normal all the way to challenging. Challenging is when it's going to get hard, and is where you're going to get some really good loot. The same goes for the strongholds. This is an educated guess, but I'm going to say that the strongholds on these main missions at the harder difficulties are going to be some of the hardest PvE stuff that we have to do right now outside of the incoming raid. These are also going to be the brunt of the replayability and are designed to keep you busy for, God, 50, 100 plus hours. I wouldn't go so far as to say that it has the same replayability that a lot of the content in the Division 1 had, especially if we're looking at stuff like Underground, but the level design for a lot of these missions, and especially the strongholds, are so strong and memorable that I can see myself replaying them quite a lot. And then outside of all of that, you have the bounties, and now this is 52 named bosses that sometimes are in pairs of 2 or more, as far as I have seen, and these guys are trouble. They will give you some good loot, but they will also put up a fight. And there are 52 of these guys to unlock and fight before the the deck reshuffles and you get to fight them all over again. And then of course there's the 2 different PvP modes, the Conflict and the Dark Zone, but I'm going to save those for another video once I've had more time with them and I can give you guys my feedback on those modes and whether or not they're fair and fun. And then in just a couple short weeks we're going to have the 8-man raid, which I'm sure is going to be like a stronghold on steroids, and I can't wait to see what it will offer us in terms of a challenge and loot. And can we give some mad props to whoever wrote and created the AI for this game, because it is top notch. The way they flank, the way they put on pressure, the way they force you to change how you play and make coordinated moves and sometimes make mistakes. And I feel like the AI helps to increase the replayability of this game, because if we had the AI of Destiny or heaven forbid Anthem, it would be a lot more mind-numbing and a lot easier. And of course the whole goal of all of this is to get the high-end gear sets as well as the exotic weapons, and I think maybe exotic armors. I'm not sure if those exist though. And of course all of those high-end mods and gun mods, and that's also another video in and of itself talking about the different modifications and how to min-max properly, and I've been messing a lot with that and it's been really fun. I really like what they've done with the mod system with the guns, and once they tweak the requirements for the skill power on the skill mods, I think that'll be really fun to mess with too. So my final thoughts on the Division 2 endgame. I think it's extensive. It could have been more, I mean, in the perfect world, but for a launch game, for a launch live service looter shooter, the Division 2 has delivered in spades. It's replayable, it's fun, engaging, there's a lot to chase after in a variety of ways, and there's a variety of ways to chase. And the best part is, we as Division 2 players aren't going to have to wait 6 months or a year for the game to, quote, be good, like almost every other live service looter shooter out there except for Borderlands. If I had any complaints, it would be that outside the Black Tusk and what they bring to the table in terms of new ways to kill me, the enemy variation could be expanded upon. And I know that's hard to do because the Division 2 is set in a, well, realistic present time period with everyone being a human. So there's only so much armor and miniguns you can slap onto one big beefy guy, and outside of drones and robot dogs, I'm not entirely sure what we'll see in terms of future bosses. It would be cool to go up against weaponized land, sea, and air vehicles. Make it happen, Massive. I know you can do it. Like the helicopter from the Division 1, but better, and like the flying Black Tusk drones from this game, but harder. All in all, I am absolutely thrilled with the end game that we have as Division 2 players on day one. But now I'd like to know your thoughts on the Division 2 endgame. Have you gotten as far as I have? Have you gotten further? Or are you curious about some things that maybe I didn't touch upon? Let me know in the comments down below. We'll have a discussion about it, and I'll see if I can help you out. Thank you for watching this video. If you liked it, hit that like button, subscribe for more Division 2 content, and I'll see you next time.
This fucking shit, I got it! Fucking move. This one's mine.